This is the Screamer series of videos. This is for anybody who wants to do hardcore death metal screaming, extreme vocals, or some sort of gritty, even yelling type of thing where we can learn to do these things safely. But what we have to distinguish first is what screaming is and what it isn't. So there's a few things. There's a big difference between a death metal growl or scream, yeah, and yelling. That is not yelling. What's the difference? Well, when we yell, hey, hey, we're slamming the vocal cords together like that to make a loud sound. It's an automatic response wired into those abstract thoughts that give us our tone placement and the other things that we need. So what we have to imagine is that it's not like any other type of singing or vocalizing. We've got to get that out of our head. So there's two things we're going to learn. There's one style of screaming, which is a forced air style, and that divides itself into two sub-styles. So that kind of sounds like, we will rise. It's just noise. You can hear that there's no actual notes. It's not, we will rise. There's no pitch on it. It's just forced air. Air being pushed through my windpipe, through my vocal folds to make a certain type of noise. Now, how we do that, what the different ways of doing that are, we'll get to. But I want to make a very clear distinction that that type of screaming is not yelling. Yeah! It's just forced air, not yelling. It's not yeah! Big difference. The second type of thing we'll cover in the Screamer series is about singing with grit. If you want to do something with a grittier sound, you can do it safely, but you just have to imagine the right tone placement. So you can make sounds like, hey, hey, hey. You hear how it's gritty. It's not screaming. It's not, hey. It's not a death metal growl. It's, hey, hey. Kind of a James Hetfield kind of a feel to it. And those are certain things that we want to do. But how do I do all of those things I just did? I did not feel any pain in my vocal folds. None. How do we do that? Well, we use the same breath technique that we use from our other videos. Go back and watch my breath technique video. If you haven't watched it, it's going to be a big problem for you to try to do the screaming. So let's think about breathing first. You want to fill up the lungs with air. It's really important you fill them up all the way down. And then use the first note as the exhale. Make sure you have enough air. The key thing for screamers is air. Air, 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 air. That's how you get all these gritty sounds without slamming the vocal folds together. If they don't have enough air, they're going to try to slam together because remember, the thoughts in our head command our voice. If we have an abstract thought in our mind that says, I want to scream loud, our vocal cords are going to go, ugh, and slam, and then they're going to swell, and then we're going to be hoarse for several days. And if we keep doing this, we'll never make it through a tour. And we'll never be able to, we'll damage our vocal cords eventually doing this. And that's not what we want to do. We want to do these things safely without damaging our cords. And we actually can do that. You can sit there and go, yeah, hey, and you cannot damage your voice. I did not slam my vocal cords together at all there, yet I made a really gritty sound. So this is the difference between safe screaming and gritty singing. There's two things. One is a noise making. A death metal screaming is like a noise make and doesn't involve any actual pitch or vocalization. Whereas the gritty singing is just adding grit to regular correct singing.